The galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of Man. This is the Age of Darkness. Whether you're a warrior of the Legiones Astartes, an adept of the Mechanicum, or just a mere mortal in a universe of madness, you'll find a place here. Welcome to the Remembrancer's Retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the Vengeful Spirit.
Hello and welcome to the Remembrancer's Retreat, a Warhammer 30k podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'm here with Jason from Heresy Grad School, and Austin, and Dave also from Heresy Grad School, but he also shows up here.
What's going on, nerds?
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey.
Nothing much. I am sitting here with a triple shot of Starbucks in my hand. I am dead tired.
And you're already shaking.
But you still look phenomenal.
Oh, thanks.
It's true.
It's good to see you, Jason. We haven't had you on the show in forever.
Tell me about it. Dave and I were talking about this last night. It's really exciting to, what do we call it, like returning to the Mothercast.
Right. It's like the homecoming. But yeah, as we're all more or less recovered from Nova, everyone's gotten over their crud, if they got it.
Like 95%.
Gotcha. Dave, did you catch anything?
No, I stayed pretty healthy, man.
Awesome.
I don't know if it was the lack of sleep or the moderation of alcohol on my part, which was a first for me at Nova.
A fine balance between the two, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was, the balance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually get sick until like the night of the Monday after getting back, and Allie is firmly of the opinion that I only started showing symptoms once I had gotten a full night's sleep and all the alcohol had been sweated out of my body. And I was probably sick before that, but my body was just too gone to actually try and fight off whatever it was, which I can't argue with because, well, I was drunk a lot.
That's what's important, folks. You need that, like, healthy saturation of alcohol, just like that, slightly sloshed level to get rid of all those germs, but not so much that you shut down your own immune system via bourbon.
I don't know if you guys did this, but I prepped going into Nova, right? Like I came home early, I slept late, right? So I built in some, I don't know, like a slush fund. So I was ready for Nova, and I got there a day early, man, which helps a lot. I think I showed up at like on Wednesday around noon, and it was the most civil con that I've ever been to, right? Like I did it right, man. I had valet, I unloaded my car, I put it on a cart.
Like a
the
big
guy
shot.
took it up to my room. Yeah, it was
A
like
guy took it up to your room.
Yeah, the guy, like I gave him $20 and he'd been there for like 13 years, right? So he was like, he knew
Aware.
the con.
He knew what was upon him.
That dude's been to
He
more
knew what was
Novas than
going
we
on.
have.
Probably.
Yeah, right.
That's true. They should have called him out when they were saying there are like 3 guys that have done all 10. No, there's 4.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's next time, man. I'll talk to Mark about that. But yeah, no, it was a really good con for me. I had a great time, and I wasn't really expecting to. I mean, it sounds dumb, but like I really wasn't expecting to have as good a time as I did at the con, and it was by far my best.
That's really good.
Convention.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Jason, how was your con experience?
Pretty exceptional for the most part. I went through, let's see, Centurion, Zone Mortalis, and the doubles on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, respectively. Pretty exceptional across the board. It's really nice to be able to go into an event like that and be able to try, like, like in ZM, I soundly got my teeth kicked in 3 games in a row, and it was a blast every time. Just because I got to try my super stupid all Terminators 1,000 Suns list. Incredibly entertaining, and I will be happy to pontificate at length on on some of those games a little later.
Awesome. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. My one downfall was I hosted the pub quiz Wednesday night, which was a blast. I had a lot of fun. People seemed to enjoy it. Weirdly, I think the craziest thing that happened for me at the con was we went down to the GW reveal, Steven and I. You know, we just took a seat, and it was cool. Like, you know, it was fun. But the guy next to us before it started specifically said the only reason he was at Nova Wednesday night was to do the pub quiz.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I have no idea who he is, bro. I know you're probably listening. Like, I'm sorry. I was already intoxicated. I don't professional pub quiz. But that was just the craziest thing that like
that is cool. I did not know
somebody
that.
cared enough to like go the distance and come say hi and, you know, drink and hang out. And that was a blast. Unfortunately, I did lose my voice because even though I know how to project from the diaphragm and can yell for hours at people while standing up, hunched over a microphone is apparently completely different, and my voice was just gone. And every time I thought it came back, it just continued to be gone for the rest of the weekend. So like the next day I was doing was it Centurion that was Thursday? Yeah, I was doing Centurion, and a couple of times I was like trying to explain things to my opponents. Like, you know, somebody never played Wolves before, and I was running a bunch of Death Sword, and I'm just like, Jesus, and they're real good.
Okay,
they're real good.
I found myself having the same situation as well, where it's just terrible. It's like, how did I lose my voice at, you know, Thursday?
Right.
And also, I'm starting to realize that I am turning into an old person because come Thursday night, I realized I was bent over a game table way too long.
I was remarkably impressed with myself. So we did the pub quiz.
Got to do some jumping jacks.
We then went to our room and shat all over Bob Gulliman until like 2 a.m.
Wow, Bob Gilliman really sounds like a politician's name.
And that's what he is.
Vote for Bob Gilliman.
Vote for Bob Gilliman. We did also shit all over Rogel Dorn for some of that.
Well, to be fair, he is a terrible person.
It's true.
And kind of an idiot.
Eats so many cats. But so like that was my night, you know, actually asleep sometime after 2 a.m, woke up at like 6:30 because I was just excited to Nova. Centurion all day. I think that was my early night. I was in bed by like 1.
Mm-hmm. Still not quite
Sorry,
over.
still not quite over the con crud. But yeah, I don't think I was in bed after that before 3 o'clock in the morning any night. Like I did the late night Blood Bowl tournament they had, which was a blast. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I think I got like 8 hours of sleep total and felt really, really good.
Yeah.
Like I never woke up and was like, oh God, I'm so hungover. Like, I'm so tired. No, I was like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed the whole time. So that's going to be my trick moving forward is just don't sleep, drink a lot. And, my sick leave is separate from my annual leave. So fuck it.
I see nothing wrong with that plan.
Right? Like I called my boss, like late Monday. I was like, yeah, I don't feel good. Like I never do this. Like I got to call out. I'm sick. And he's just sort of like, you know, okay, sure. You know, he's a cool guy. He's fine with it. Mm-hmm. Tuesday rolls around, still worse, if anything. Wednesday rolls around, still not great.
Oh man.
Thursday rolls around and I wake up like at the time I should be leaving to go to work because I'm sleeping on the couch. So I don't wake up Allie, like the whole thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling better. I'm just going to prep for work like I always do, head in an hour late, and it'll be fine. About half an hour through my prep for go to work, I was like, fuck it, I can't do this. Called my boss again. And at that point, I was like, you know, at this point, he probably just thinks that I planned a 2-week vacation and just not showing up to work anymore. But it was awesome. It was worth it. I'll do it again next year. You know?
Awesome.
See, that's interesting because I went about the whole sleeping thing completely different. Like I got a solid 8 hours every night. I was up by the same 6:30, but it was to work out.
Oh, see, there's your
And-
problem.
See, that's the thing. I ran Thursday morning, I ran like 40 flights of stairs because, of course, those little hotel gyms are terrible. But I passed, like, some poor bastard was not taking the elevator for some reason. And he had, like, this armful of, like, those giant Tupperwares with, like, a ton of, like, 40K Primaris Marines in there. And he was, like, trucking down the stairs, wheezing a little bit. And when I passed him, like in workout shorts, just like you're running up the stairs, the look he gave me was,
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
it was like murderous and contemptuous at the same time.
How dare you improve your body at this, our holiest of events?
Oh, man. It's good times
It was.
all around.
Went to that Thai place. It was amazing.
That Thai place was amazing.
And I know Dave, Caro, and I, and one of Dave's friends, Jamie, we went to the steakhouse on Sunday night because we decided, we're just going to stay one extra night because I didn't feel like packing all that stuff in after hosting the strike team event.
Yeah, yeah.
And steak place is really good.
Yeah, that was the one
Yeah,
bad
it
thing
was
about
great.
That was the one bad thing about my nights, because my nights were packed. So I did the Blood Bowl 2 nights, and I did Solar War a night, and I just had no time. Like my day would end at like 6:30 p.m., and then at 8 or 9, the next event would start. And I did kind of miss the group go out and sit down at dinner for like 2 hours, just chatting and drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should all just stay until Monday morning next time. I mean, Austin, you're going to get sick anyway, so just stay the extra night.
Yeah, but it was fine because I
Load
was
up on
healthy to drive.
Dayquil.
I was healthy to drive back home. That was the
That's
important.
true. That's true.
We'll say it was super calm. Like, it was just relaxing Sunday night.
It was weirdly serene.
Did you stay Sunday too?
I didn't. I just heard about
Okay.
it
It was
from my house.
Yeah,
So
we're
let me,
just-
let me say something really quick about the difference in con experiences here, right? So like I think my con experience was more like Austin's. I think I rolled dice legitimately 16 hours out of every day. Thank you to Ryan Bridges for putting on the late night webway event. So fucking
Oh,
good.
so much fun.
It's just really great. Austin played in that. I did not see Jason the whole con. Like, I think maybe once or twice. Like, we saw, like, in passing. I was like, cool, you're playing in this event, I'm playing in it. So, like, this is how big the heresy scene has gotten, right? And so we're all in the same hall, but we're never in the same events. And so I think, the one time we got to hang out was we had a Heresy grad school dinner, right? So Jason, Pat, and I went out to Vietnamese. We found a Vietnamese restaurant a little bit outside, the wire, and that was the only time we got to hang out, man. But like, I never saw you and Pat.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think I
really
remember
during the
seeing
day.
Jason either, except like we met up for breakfast a couple of times.
I don't think Jason was ever really
Maybe
there.
Jason wasn't at the con. Maybe were you there for like a business meeting or?
I mean, it's a possibility. I did. I basically just showed up to the hotel to work out, and then I
Just run stairs and make nerds feel bad about themselves.
just left. That was that was my morning.
Later, nerd.
Can
says he
anyone
runs out the
confirm
doors.
playing Jason's militia army?
Oh boy,
Yeah, you
Nice.
were talking a little bit about that before we got online.
nice segue into militia here.
You're welcome.
That was silky smooth. I appreciate it. It is my firm opinion that Astartes at large are not ready for mortals. Like, I know all we hear about from, the fluff and tons of the stuff Dave, Pat, and I read to you all the time, that the Astartes are the big players in this. I don't think that's the case. Because let me tell you, the amount of times I've played across from an Astartes player who has no answer for 3 Land Raiders and a whole bunch of Medusas and a single Carnodon. Now,
You love that little Carnodon.
do.
God bless you for fielding that Carnodon.
and it's amazing. It's 70 points for 3 autocannons, and the only time it's ever died is when I played Jesse a while back, and he blew it away as an afterthought. Like, oh, I can't reach anything else. Let me just shoot that stupid carnage.
Kablamicus.
I've never disliked them as a tank. It's just they're so fucking, like, money-wise expensive.
They are expensive, but the first time I tank shocked a brand new assault squad off an objective and they broke and fled to a 70-point tank. Whew, boy.
So what legion bears that shame?
That would be the Blood Angels, and you know who you are. But it was good stuff. It was a spectacular game, like a whole bunch of back and forth. Oh boy, because I played the militia. If we're gonna get into this, my 1,500 points of militia and Pat's 1,500 point of super spooky mechanicum, and I don't think that's a matchup people are used to seeing. Like, I know doubles is kind of a game that's a little bit on the fringe already, but playing two armies that aren't Astartes on top of that, I think kind of throws people.
And I feel like they complement each other pretty well.
They really do. Like, I swear people forget about fringe rules that don't see a lot of use, like pinning, blind, tank shock. They're things that people seem to kind of discard, like, oh, well, Astartes are, initiative 4. They're never going to fail a blind check. But it's a 1 in 3 chance to just make a squad of Astartes useless for a turn. It's amazing, and I love photon thrusters. Conversely, same thing with the tank shock. Sure, leadership 8 or 9 Astartes probably aren't going to fail that often, but if you make them take 3 sequential tank shock checks, eventually they're going to fail one. And even if they don't, they have to move physically out of the way of the tank. So you can just, scooch it across the objective and,
just brush them away.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
I think that's the difference between like a competent player, right? Somebody who's familiar with the rule set, and a player like Jason, right? Who's just he's like a great tactician. I can say this having played against him and then also played with him in doubles last year.
Oh, if anything, that was rougher.
Yeah, for sure. But probably because I was weighing you down, man.
No, not at all. Like, our team name last year was spectacular. It was All Mortals, No Mercy. So it was my militia and Dave's Solar Auxilia. And let me tell you.
That's a rude amount of pie plates.
Yeah, the mech was a step down. Like, Patrick's Mechanicum was the fluffy, friendly option there.
For sure.
Dave bringing on,
before...
like, oh man, those extra pie plates, that Malcador and Furnace. It's good teamwork, buddy.
It was good times. But I think, I think there are two things going here, right? Like, so Jason is he's a good tactician. He's got a deep, like, a kit bag, right, of rules that he can pull from. So like the tank shock and the pinning and the blind. Those are all things that I think if you've not really been playing for a long time, and you just you're not sort of at that level where those rules are very comfortable for you, you don't know to pull them out. I think it just goes over a lot of people's heads. And I think the other thing is, exactly what Jason was saying, right? Is I think a lot of people just don't understand Mechanicum and militia armies, right? Because they don't really know how to take them apart. They don't really know what makes them tick. They don't know the sort of the weak points where you're supposed to go after them. And then I think it just can become like a war of attrition, and you just can't get through enough, especially at 1,500 points or 3,000 points. I think they just bring a lot at that point level. So it can be a tough matchup for the legions.
And I think the other kind of problem, as somebody who's been playing militia for a long time now, is when people first fight militia, because it seems like we're the only meta that has a good amount of militia players.
Or really any at all.
Or really any. That's true. I haven't seen a non-Richmond militia army at Nova. But so they don't really play. I'm sure you've played guard or whatever, but I think in their heads, they think the fights, it's going to be like the fluff, right?
Yeah.
And what does militia do in all the fluff?
Die
horribly, real quickly. And for the large part, that's what I do. Like, that's what my militia is designed to do. That's what Jared's militia is designed to do. Die in large quantities real fast. But it's sort of like the Germans would talk, the German tankers that would talk about American tanks. And they said, they interviewed a German tanker about it, and he said, well, the Panther was worth 10 Shermans. The problem is the Americans always brought 11. And that's kind of how militia roll. Like, you think you're doing a great job. Yeah, I've taken 70 models off the board. This is going to be what do you mean there's still 50 left and I'm still getting like pie plated to hell?
Just the sheer amount of wounds.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And just watching like Jared and Jason's militia both just made me so happy because I was really afraid that there would be no militia at Nova this year because I wasn't bringing them.
There will always be militia as long as Richmond 30K hits Nova.
It lives forever in my heart and mind. Like next year, I'm bringing demons to everything, but at least my doubles partner will have militia. So
there you go.
He'll be there.
Still counts.
So tonight, unless David, do you have anything you want to talk about for Nova?
For Nova, no, man. It was just it was a great time.
time.
Yeah. How about you, Jesse? How did your Nova go?
I'm also part of this podcast too. It was great. Did opening salvo, brought the lion with the Nova rules, which was a lot of fun. I don't think I won any game.
Yeah, we had a game.
We did have a game. We actually, for the first time, played each other. And Magnus, Magnus is rough.
Magnus can be such a bitch, especially when he's full of biomancy.
Iron Arm, Warp Speed.
Yeah.
So which of you was pretending to be loyal in that game?
Was it you, Jesse? Oh, hang on.
That's good.
I have... No, I don't know. I don't have a sound for this.
Victory is mine.
What does this one do? There we go. That's close enough.
You should have been playing that just constantly while we were talking about militia.
That's exactly
fire in the background.
It was a great game.
It was fun.
Jesse played the lion, and Jesse, you had some rules for the lion because I know that most people are like, how the fuck did he play the lion, right? Like, there are rules for the lion, and you can, tell
on
people.
The Nova Open Horus Heresy webpage, Facebook page, has, if you go into the files, they have rules for the lion, and also Giganticon and the Angel, Sanguinius, before Book 8 came out.
Both of those are probably retired.
It's all
now.
it's all in the same
Is
file.
the lion really the last one to not have rules?
Yeah. Yep.
Last as he was first.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting, but real excited for that. Still great games on opening salvo. Man, it was all a blur for me too. I guess the high point was the doubles. Carol and I we both managed to make 1,500 point armies. She made her Emperor's Children. She played third Company Elite, I think it's called. Excuse me. And she enjoyed that. And I had some Iron Warriors, play Sons of Olympia. And we didn't win a single game, but it was still a blast. Like Mark Rayleigh from the Grain Legion, he put on just a ridiculous missions to go with the doubles. And it was a lot of fun. I'm sorry, listeners. I am completely burnt out right now.
Yeah, I think everybody is still, even though we're more or less recovered from Nova, it's still just so much hobby and such a, not even a small package, in a large package.
Yeah.
And it's still just insane.
And I will say, near the end, we almost got, really just strung out. Super tired. Man, are we really going to do this next year? But as soon as we got back on the road, driving back to Richmond, we just could not stop talking about what projects we want to do for next year, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yep. I drove back with Steven, and our entire time was settling on fluff for our doubles. That's right, Mork. You thought it couldn't be done. You said, there can't be theme for doubles. Yeah, we're coming for you. We're going to have theme.
Yeah.
It'll be glorious.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Nova was going to be my 30K fix for the year, right? It was just going to scratch the itch and I'd be done and, move on to other things. But if anything, it just energized me, man. It just pumped me up and I just want to play more 30K. I want to play narrative 30K. I want to play campaigns. I want to do City of Death out of book 4. I'm fucking pumped, man.
Oh, City of Death. I forgot about that. That's good business. We're going to have to check that action out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll do that, and we'll do strategic raids, and I've got plans, man.
Yeah. Speaking of events, if I might, unless you want to say, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to segue a little bit. There are some upcoming events here in Virginia and also in London that I want to talk about. I got an email from a guy named Nathan. He says, "Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. Longtime fan listener and love listening to you guys chat heresy whilst I work through my painting backlog of Marines, beasts, and several objectives. I'm organizing an event on the 28th of September in London and still have 12 out of 40 places left to fill and would appreciate a shout out. The event itself is a mashup of Jumanji, Dune, Pokemon, and Avatar, and thought, hey, how about creating an event that blends all of this together? I've attached a pack and a few sample pictures of items such as event encounter cards along with companion cards that players receive at the end of the event for their takeaway beastie, i.e. dog tags, which can be used for future events. This is the second round of the event, which first ran back in March. Facebook group for this event is here, and doesn't really show the link, but it is called The Flame Master Introduces the Deserts of Heliocyntius 2 on Horus Heresy. I posted a link to this on our page if you want to check it out. The pictures and the mission packets.
Yeah, the stuff that guy's giving out looks crazy.
This is ridiculous. This is top tier Horus Heresy campaigns. It looks absolutely amazing. If this is the first time you heard of it, go check it out right now because it is well thought out. Here's a quick overview of the event. It's 40 Great British pounds sterling, Doctor Who money.
Yeah.
It's 40 Doctor Who a ticket. It is set on a desert planet full of murderous, spiced, jacked beasts. There are 48 custom event exclusive relics. So he has a packet which has a whole slew of different relics that you can take for your characters. One per player max. You get event encounter cards. You get custom missions revealed on a day with custom purity seals. There are Forge World prizes, Forge World prize support, which is really cool. Pizza and donuts, planetary empire tiles, general animal-related trauma. Yeah, he's got an Eventbrite page. Again, you can follow the link on our Facebook page. And
it's a one-day event?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And it is jam-packed. He's got...
No, it seems real good. I was planning on saving my trip to England until, after Brexit tanks the pound and it'll be real cheap. But this almost makes me wish I had got my passport lined up a little sooner.
Well, I need to check my passport because I do plan to go to Heresy Weekender if it's going to be there next year.
Good.
I'm going to do it.
Good.
I'm going to do it. You got to do the Dark Angels.
It's the Hajj, man. You got to take the Hajj.
Playing round trip tickets right now are dirt cheap if I plan well in advance.
Nice.
That's the idea. Anyway, but check it out. The Flame Master.
Yeah, and even if you don't you're like me, you're sitting on the wrong side of the pond for this one. Check it out. Just because it's some good inspiration for running your own events. The guy really has set up some really, really cool stuff going on.
It's extremely thorough, and I kind of wish I would play it. Yeah. And also in Hampton Roads, with Hampton Roads 30K, just down a little bit south of us, they're running an event at the Call to Arms, which is a historical event in Williamsburg. And I had a quick interview with Ben, and take a listen. All right, I'm here today with Ben Marsh over down at Hampton Roads 30K.
I'm doing great, man.
Awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity to come on the show with you.
Yeah, sorry we didn't hit up earlier, but I know you guys have an event in October, Heresy Call to Arms.
Yeah, as you remember, back in 2018, the Richmond group actually were given the opportunity to start a heresy tournament at one of the I say local conventions in Williamsburg called the Williamsburg Muster.
Yep.
And you guys did a great job with it. Had an amazing time. It was one of the larger heresy oriented events in the area that wasn't at just one of the local gaming stores. And in 2019 at the Williamsburg Muster, unfortunately, the Richmond crew they weren't able to head it up again. So I took the opportunity to kind of spearhead that myself, along with two of the other locals here in Hampton Roads, Rich Lansendorf and Mike Ledoux. And the event, by all metrics, was a great success. Everyone seemed to have a really great time.
It was a very good time.
Yeah,
I managed to make it down there myself, and had a great time.
And yeah, it was awesome. And during that event, I was able to spend some time with some of the convention organizers and really kind of give them a sense of what it is that we were about. And we've been kind of pushing and growing the local 30K community here for the last year because of it. And they were impressed. They really liked us being there. And they're like, well, we're going to have another event in October called Call to Arms, and we would really love it if you guys were able to put something on for that event as well. And jumped at that opportunity. The group is called the Old Dominion Military Society, and there's just a local club. They traditionally deal primarily in historicals, as you can tell, from going to any of those conventions. Heavy historical bent. So
Sure.
Stuff like Bolt Action, Flames of War, Saga.
So many 6mm games out there on the.
Yeah, there are a lot of 6mm games that I have never heard of in my life, but like games that have apparently been around since decades before I was born.
Games where there's a single, like a single packet that was made 25 years ago, and it's just been sitting in a manila folder somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, let's use these rules.
Exactly.
I love it.
That's actually a fantastic way of putting it. But over the course of the last few years, they've been it's a very open kind of gaming group. So while they have the historical bent, a lot of people are dedicated gamers, so they're picking up other systems. It's not always just the most well known or established ones. The Warhammer and Warmahordes, stuff like that. Just the big names. It's some of these almost homebrew sci-fi or futuristic game systems, and they've been bringing those in kind of piecemeal here and there. Some of the groups up there do like old school BattleTech, not even the new edition rules. A couple of games that are kind of like Battlefleet Gothic, but instead of using the Warhammer ships, it's like just bring whatever ship models you may have. It's almost kind of like a proto X-wing in a way. So they're keen on expanding into new territories, and I think that's one of the reasons why they were so excited about having the Heresy group come in the first place. And so now that we have kind of our foot in the door, so to speak, that you guys kind of established for us, I feel really good about the progress that we're making. So back in 2018, we had about 12 or 14 players.
I think it was
It was around that number.
I think we had six tables set up, and 2 had to drop out last minute. So I think we had 10 players total. But yeah,
I think that's about right. And then if the muster this year, we had 7 tables and we had 1 floating player, so we had about 15 players. And this for Call to Arms, we already have prepaid 17 players. In fact, you are my 17th. So I have right now I have 3 spaces that are technically available. I've got a number of people who have already said, I'd really be interested in going, but of course, life poses its hurdles here and there. So
sure.
Haven't gotten the final word on that one yet. But the fact that where you guys started it in 2018. We're now on our third event, and we're showing steady growth, and our name's getting a little bit more pronounced in the area. That to me, that is, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And truth be told, I don't know that I could handle a massive incursion of new players wanting to, if I couldn't deal with a 30 table event. That
Sure.
just wouldn't work. So it's good for us, the local group, being able to slow grow it so that we can, gives us time to bring new people into the community, kind of get them up to speed, helps us build our collections, because a lot of the stuff that we're using for the event, the terrain and whatnot, is just, it's provided by us. It's just our personal collections, which I know you're completely familiar with how that goes. And we have been lucky that we've gotten some of the local gaming stores, even if they're not giving us monetary support, they are giving us the support of using some of their materials, which is awesome. And we
it's
really
almost just as important, if not more so.
Oh yeah, definitely for where we are. But I am really happy to say that this year for Call to Arms, we do have our first official prize sponsor, and that is KR, the makers of the KR multi-case. So our biggest prize support this year is going to be some really awesome cases. In fact, the one that I took with me to the Nova Open is a carbon copy of what's going to amount to be our I guess, quote unquote, first place prize, which is a backpack style case that is more than adequate to hold a 2,500 point army of most builds.
I own one of those myself, and it is massive. Like, you can hold quite a bit in there.
Oh yeah, and I did the custom foam route. I built since the majority of the players around here play a Marine army, I built a Marine case. But if someone wants to swap some stuff out, it's exceptionally easy to do so, and very affordable. So they've been one of my favorite companies for storage solutions for the last probably close to a decade now. So the fact that they're on board with us and helped us out with the prize support is amazing. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, I am stoked. I think it's going to be an amazing event, and I know that for every event that we show positive growth, and it's I have no reason to believe that this will be any less of a success than the last two. That every year we're going to be able to get a little bit more consideration from the convention, and I'm hoping that while I don't want to take it over, I think that we could be one of the main attractions for the event in the coming years, and that's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love what you guys have been doing with it, and just seeing it grow is really cool to see.
Oh yeah, and we know where we came from, and we know that we couldn't do this without the support not only of our our local groups, even other gaming groups, but the support that we get from all of the guys up in Richmond and surrounding areas who have they've come down to support us at various events. We try to do some local 30K style events here at some of the local breweries and the gaming stores, and some of your players have come down to help us out with that, which has always been amazing. So just having a support system like that, it cannot be, you can't give it enough praise. Like that, for any group to really succeed, having a support group is it is vital.
Yeah. So the East Coast 30K community as a whole has just been awesome. Like, everyone just going back and forth between each other's events. It's really neat.
It really is.
I think Ryan came all the way down from Maryland to the last event. If I remember.
He did not come to 2019's muster. He did. That's where he and I met, was at the 2018 muster. In fact, we hit it off like amazingly, and like we were really good buddies, and everything was great. And then he and I got matched up together, and I did some awful things to his death guard, and I was like, "Oh, great, I've lost a friend." But he is actually going to be coming down for this event as well, and some of the other guys from Maryland are actually making it down. I think I've got either 3 or 4 people from Maryland taking the trip down, which is awesome that we are getting that sort of reach on this. So it just, and you're right, the East Coast 30K scene has been just amazing. And like, I just, touched on it here and there. I knew some individuals that were amazing, but since Nova, I've had the opportunity to kind of reach out to a broader range of people, and get invited to some of the Facebook clubs and whatnot and see what other groups are doing and how they're interacting with one another. And it is amazing. In fact, one of my, I guess this is my moment of pride from the Nova Open this year is one of the guys who he was kind of a lurker. His name was Andy. He was just walking around watching the 30K, and like, you've seen me in public. I tend to get loud and draw some sort of a crowd every once in a while. He was my crowd for a little while. So he and I just talked and joked and just bullshitted about 30K. And like, I was, telling him everything about it. And after the event, he messages me and he's like, so I'm going to start a community here in 30K. I am the only person here that is like, no one else does it yet. I'm going to do it. And I was like, that is awesome. Like, that's
really
the highest praise. Like, you have talked me into this. Like, I'm sorry for what I've done to your bank account, but like, this was the kind of guy, he was really dead set on 40K, but he's like, no, like, the 30K group was having fun. They're talking, they actually show the tenets of community that you would want in your gaming group, where the 40K group they were all business all the time. Like, and it's a great game, and I understand why people play it, but what I want from my hobby now is really exemplified by 30K. And so being able to run events that showcase that and build it, it's a source of pride for me right now.
Definitely. Yeah, I mentioned this last podcast, so I'm sorry, listeners, but I know when we were at Nova this year, Duncan from Maryland, he hit the nail right on the head. He said that 30K is more like a car show. 40K is a little bit more like a car race. And I was like, that's pretty much it.
That's a fantastic way of doing it, or describing it, because that's everyone's looking and seeing like how you've tweaked your models and what you've your conversions, your paint scheme, and even if you're coming in with an old beater of an army like I did this year, like, people were still quick to be like, that's awesome. I can see what you're doing there. I can see that it will be awesome once you get some more time into it. Like, everyone is extremely helpful, and they want to give you praise, and they want to support you, and that's just a cool community to be a part of. So I'm thankful to be a part of it. I'm thankful for everyone that I've met because of it, and I'm hoping that with the success of these conventions, like, not only can we build the 30K community, but we can build some other gaming, community offshoots just from it.
Sure.
I'm a firm believer that if we can support one another, like, everyone's growth affects everyone else positively. But that's just how I've always viewed it, because I game a lot of different systems, or I at least try to whenever I have time. So I want there to be a booming community for everything. I don't want to have to go searching for people to share my nerddom with.
Sure. Cool. Well, thank you, Ben. Let's hammer out some details here for the event, because I don't think we even brushed it. October 12th, I believe, is when the event starts.
Yes. So the call to arms, the convention itself goes from October 10th, which I believe is a Thursday, to the 13th, a Sunday. Specifically, the 30K event is going to be on Saturday the 12th. Registration will start around 9 in the morning. Is when we'll start getting everyone is centered in the room, and we'll start pairings. I think the first game is going to start at 10:30. Like I said, we do still have 3 spots available at the time of this recording, and
this is at the Clarion Hotel in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Yes, and they are
right off of Richmond Road.
Yes, that is correct, and they are still doing a convention rate. I believe, I want to say it's $80 a night, I could be wrong about that one, but they are. I know that they are still doing some sort of special rate, and they do still have rooms available. I know I checked yesterday. So that if you can come and stay the night, that's awesome. I know that they're going to have a lot of different game demos, board games, like library, and there's going to be other tournaments going around at the same time. We are going to try actually. While Saturday is going to be our official event. I think some of us are going to try to put together something small for Friday night for the people that are able to join in. Not sure if it's going to be something like Apocalypse or if it's going to be something more akin to like what Opening Salvo was, just a variable game size, kind of a meet and greet sort of game time. That's going to depend entirely on when people show up. I know some people are looking to come in on Friday, but I think the majority of people are going to be coming in Friday or Saturday morning to start the event and then leave Sunday.
Gotcha.
But a registration is $30. That does cover you for the entire convention. So if you want to prepay, that will cover you for not only entrance to the event, but to the convention as well. And I would definitely urge anyone who has the ability to show up to come and support the convention. It's a lot of great people playing a lot of very cool, sometimes like games that you've never even heard of. So, definitely come and give it a shot.
They've also got a little bits market too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they do. There's a number of vendors on site for the whole convention, and then on Sunday they do a kind of a bits market slash what's the word I'm looking for? Swap meet sort of deal. So and you never know what you're going to find. I've been to the swap meets, and like there's people are selling entire armies, or for 30K and 40K, Warhammer Fantasy, every game system you can imagine, people have brought in there at some point. So you never know what you're going to find. It's a true flea market.
Yeah. And listeners, if you want more information, be sure to check out their Facebook page at Heresy at Call to Arms 2019. I believe that's the name of the group.
Yes. And you can also reach out to me directly on Facebook or via email at ben.c.marsh@gmail.com. More than happy to answer any questions you may have. This is a narrative style event. It is meant to allow players of any skill level. So even if it's your first time going to an event, or if you're a seasoned veteran, we want you there because we want to introduce you to the community right.
Very cool. Ben, thank you for coming on and sharing your event with us.
Well, awesome. This has been great. Thank you so much for having me on, Jesse. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you. And we're back. Just like that.
Truly, it is podcast magic.
Yep. I see you have Aeronautica Imperialis rulebook in your hands, Austin.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I do. Do you care to talk about it?
Yeah. So I'm going to preface this with...
quick question. Jason, have you played?
I have not.
Dave, I think you've been playing, right? Or you got the stuff?
Yeah, so Austin and I have been playing, we're talking about Imperialis Aeronautica, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so definitely. We've played a few times.
The old version, yeah.
The old version, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to include the Tactica, the scenarios, the ground defenses. So I'd say Austin and I and Austin's played probably more than I have, but I'd say we have a very good understanding of what it was. But I've not played the new rules yet.
Yeah, I took a look at it at Nova. They had a demo table out.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, because I think I'm the only person that's actually been painting planes, looking, judging.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I haven't gotten a game in yet either. But I have read through all the rulebook. And for those of you that somehow played and liked old AI, but haven't looked at this at all, it's the same damn game.
Yeah.
It is like 90% the same. The stats are even the same.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a couple of small differences. So the way it works is obviously you build a squadron of aircraft, and you go to fight the other ones. There's a dogfight scenario in the main book, but there are like bombing missions and all pretty much anything you can think of that happened with planes in World War II happens in Aeronautica.
History repeats itself.
Indeed, it does. Sorry, damn con crud.
It's all good.
Or maybe it's still my voice hasn't 100% come back. But anyway, so what you do is you set them out on the table, and it's a hex-based system. And I know that annoys people. I know it does, especially the older people who were used to, my speed 3 means I move 6 inches or whatever. And I've come to the determination that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But you got to admit, I know you're really old school. You love your centimeters and BFG and everything like that. Yes. I was kind of surprised to see that you are okay with the hexes.
Right? And it comes down to a couple of things.
But Austin, let me just jump in real quick, because in old Aeronautica Imperialis, it wasn't about centimeters and inches so much as it was about you had cards, right? And I know Austin's going to talk about this, but the cards were how you move, and it was really clunky because you have to take this piece of paper, right, and like line it up with the edge of your base, and then you pick your plane up and you move it and you put it on the other end of the card, right, like literally like a playing card, right?
Yeah,
50.
so
it was like a more
you just could not play that
even
with,
clunkier.
Yeah.
Like you could play it real gentlemanly with friends in any sort of even like casual sort of narrative tournament thing.
Sure.
It would fuck up.
Yeah.
Because you just cannot do that perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's one of
even
the
clunkier Wings
that's
of War.
One of the reasons why I don't mind the hexes so much. The other reason I don't mind the hexes is so they've kept the same hexagonal base.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it the same size or a little bit bigger?
It's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
But the great thing is, so all of the stuff is ever so slightly bigger than the old stuff, but it's hex-based, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Especially because this stuff is bigger, so your smaller stuff will just fit in the hexes better.
And make it look like they're closer to the ground.
Or higher in the sky. Who knows? Who knows?
But you're looking up.
That's fair.
Well, that's cool.
But the other thing is, you count hexes for like range of weapons and stuff,
Yeah.
but not for line of sight.
Okay.
Line of sight is still based on your plane. So instead of like, okay, you can see straight ahead of you 1 hex and then 2 hexes and, out like that, it's just a cone that's, 60 degrees or whatever 1/6 of a hexagon is. I don't know, really a B in geometry 30 years ago. So it doesn't fuck with the line of sight. It keeps that going. And it means, like Dave was saying, instead of the really clunky card system, for your maneuvers, you lay a token next to it because it's still secret maneuvers, sort of like X-Wing.
Yeah. The flight path system.
Yeah, except this isn't that. So you've got your speed, which you set, at whatever you want to start the game. Planes have a minimum speed. If you drop below that for whatever reason, bad
Stall
things
out.
happen.
Yeah.
You can't really go beyond that. And that determines how many hexes you move. So if you're going speed 3, you go 3 hexes. And then once you go that first hex, at any point you can do the maneuver, which could be just fly straight and you just go another 2 hexes, or, bank to the left or the right or whatever, which is really nice. Because again, you're not having to put a damn card out. You're never going to mess up a maneuver. There's also a height system, which, I think it is my voice, because the more I talk, the more interruptions I seem to be having.
Well, give us a whole lowdown on this Imperialis game then.
Yeah. Before there were 10 like height levels that you could be at. Now there's only 5. Which is important because it collapses the battle space. Because in Aeronautica, both versions, you can only shoot up or down 1 height.
Oh, okay.
So if somebody's 2 heights away, you're just never going to hit them. It's a D6 system. You always hit on 5s. Doesn't matter how good your pilot is, whatever. 5s.
Is that still the same way?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's a -1 for shooting up or down. So 6s, and you just can't shoot any further than that.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand, like having half the amount of height means that you're pretty much always going to be able to shoot at somebody unless they're trying real hard to avoid it.
Yeah.
In old AI, sometimes it was hard to pick a fight because so the maneuver cards in old AI, you would like be able to dive and climb, and that affected your height. In this, you just do maneuvers and adjust height. So it doesn't, if you go, if you bank left, you're not required to go up or down. Where in old AI, sometimes you were. And that would mean like, oh yeah, hey, I did this banking dive because I thought you were going to be there, and now I'm at height 3, but you went up thinking I was going to go up, so now you're at height 6, and we just can't fucking shoot at each other. Like, sometimes you would try to fight somebody, and neither of you, like both of you were trying to fight, and just couldn't get it happen.
Repeat ad nauseum for at least half an hour.
Right? So they've gotten rid of that. On the other hand, it does take away some of the, like, I don't want to say realism, but like the realism of, you have your high flying, top cover that's trying to like dive down, and like bombers trying to like, oh, do I want to be really low so I can drop bombs, or do I want to be high and avoid the flak of the ground?
Yeah.
Right. These are vector thrust planes, right, that can go and break orbit and fly in the void, but they're
Some
still
of them
basically
break orbit.
Some of them, but they're still basically, using like the aerodynamic principles of World War II planes. So, right, if you bank and climb, your speed has to go down, right? Like if you dive and turn, your speed has to go up, right? So that was some of the real, but not in the new one. And that's the sort, I think that's maybe some of the stuff that Austin stuff.
And yeah, and they've finessed it a little bit. So like they don't specifically say, oh, this is a dive, this is a climb. P.S. You don't have to adjust your height or speed. Yeah. It's all a little more generic. So, you can still think in your head, all right, my pilot's like doing a diving turn or whatever, because I'm adjusting the height and all that. So that's cool. I do like that they still have pilot error leads to death. So in the old AI, because sometimes you were forced to like slow down because you were climbing, or dive and you try and power dive and you accidentally dive 3 heights when there's only 2 heights of space and you slam into the ground. Mm-hmm. They've actually kept the rules that once you've turned that speed dial or you've picked that maneuver, that's what you did.
You're locked
in. And if you accidentally flew into a mountain, boss, you done fucked up and flew into a mountain, which I really like.
The mountain remains unmoved.
Yes, the mountain is unfazed by this, naturally. The other big difference is the unlimited ammunition of weapons. In old AI, you could buy things like Hellstrike missiles and whatever, and those would be one shot. And that's still true. Mm-hmm. But things like the Thunderbolt's quad autocannons, they used to only be able to shoot like 3 times in a game. Okay. And so if you think about it, you shoot 3 times in a game, you roll 4 dice, you hit on 5s at best, and then still have to like wound a plane to bring it down.
Yeah. There
were times when you'd fire off every gun every plane had and not kill somebody, and just be like, well, shit, I'm out of ammo, I gotta go. Not so in new AI. Your basic weapons are unlimited. To counterbalance this a little bit, they seem to have given most planes an extra hit point.
Okay.
Which is cool. And like, it's not hard, right? Because all the other stats for the weapons are the same. So if you really want to bring in that, historical, your plane only has 10 seconds worth of ammunition, just go find an old rule book. They're online. I'm not advocating you go download them, but should you stumble across them and want to use the limited ammo rules, they're there.
Just make a little counter.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a D6 every time you
Exactly.
shoot.
So if
take
you're-
the D6 down.
If you're playing old AI and unlimited ammo is what's getting you, congratulations. You already have those rules. Quit complaining. You got new planes. And they are
Hey, Austin,
real
I
pretty.
also I haven't looked at the campaign rules that are in Rin's War. I don't know if you have or not. I don't know if that changes anything.
No, unfortunately, I totally spaced on buying it. And I was going to pick it up at our friendly local games workshop, but they close at 7 inexplicably on Wednesdays instead of 8, like every other day of the week they're open. So I did not purchase it. And will instead be
Sure.
going to my FLGS tomorrow.
So if you're listening to this sometime next week when it releases, Austin and I both haven't looked at the new campaign rules. So there may be stuff in there like advanced rules we don't know. We're just talking about the base box set and those rules. So we'll see.
Yeah, and,
You
and there's
probably know
some
more
really
than we
cool
do.
stuff. Like there's rules for if you're right behind somebody, you get extra shots. You essentially get a second shooting phase because you're tailing them, right?
Yeah,
It's a good place to be. You're just blowing shots on them. There are rules for dropping bombs, rules for hydras. You know, there's campaign and in-game rules for like ejecting.
Yeah.
Like if you buy ejector seats because it's the Imperium of Man and they don't come standard. But if you buy your pilot's ejector seats, you have like, I think it's going to 5 up or maybe a 4 up. They bail out safely, and instead of 100% victory points, they only give up 75,
That's cool.
which is a neat little like trick, right?
Then you play a kill team game.
Yeah, right. Then you got to do a retrieval mission in Necromunda and see if he makes it back. But all in all, I am super thrilled by this, and the models are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I own one of the old Forge World Marauder bombers for this game, old AI, and I thought it was a beautiful sculpt. Like at the time, it was amazing. It was so tiny and detailed and beautiful and lovely, and it's garbage. It makes me sad. like I got 2 of the new ones, and like yeah, they're a little bigger, so you can put more detail on them. But that's not really, like you can tell that's not all that's happening, right? They have rivets. Like you can count the fucking rivets.
I saw a
Marauder
picture you
bomber.
posted, and they look really cool.
Yeah, and I've had a ton of fun painting them up. I'm doing up the bombers. My dad's retired Air Force, and I've painted up the bombers in the colors of his old squadron as they were in World War II. So it's the classic like chromed out bomber with some like yellow and black checks and some diamond patterns and some nose art. Working on nose art, pinup girl naturally.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And soon I'll actually get to play a game, Dave.
Yeah, it might be you and Dave for a while. I've got some backlog I need to
And Pat.
finish up.
Pat has orcs. You can't
Oh,
keep him
that's
out of
right.
a game that has orcs.
Everybody's just been giving Pat their orcs.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the basics. Like, I don't think I miss. There are rules for like night fighting and bad weather and stuff like that.
That's cool. But easy to pick up. It looks.
Oh yeah,
It
no,
looks fun.
this is the whole rule book to include a quick reference, 2 pages of quick reference, and every stat for the planes that come in the starter box is 37 pages.
That's pretty easy.
And I think there might even be a couple of pages of fluff in there. Yeah, there's like a page of fluff, squadron list. Yeah, no, it's real simple. And a lot of it is just like overly detailed explanation.
Sure. It's like examples.
Yeah, examples and like, well, if this and that and the other thing.
So I got a quick question because I haven't even looked through it at all.
Yeah.
For like Imperial fighters and things, are there like, for lack of a better term, like legions or like certain squadrons you can play as that give certain rules? Or
So the short answer is no.
okay,
What there is there's a couple of aces, which give special rules. There's the generic upgrade ace, which lets you once a game just re-roll all the dice for that plane, just one time, which is cool.
yeah,
And then there is for the Imperials anyway, because I only have the Imperial like cards that came with aces. there's a fighter ace and a bomber ace, and a special plane for technically each of them, but you don't have, like, you can put somebody else in the plane. It's just, oh, look, it's another
Gotcha.
one. And they're not much different. Like, the Thunderbolt, I think, is 2 points more expensive and has an extra point of speed over a generic Thunderbolt. So, like, it's cool, but it's not
Nothing crazy. It's
No,
like
nothing-
nothing that you were like, you have to take this every single time.
Yeah, no, not a must take by any means, I wouldn't think. Yeah, and no, there's no equivalent to playing Dark Angels, unfortunately. Like, there's no.
Yeah.
It's the Imperial Navy.
I'm
they're
good with it.
more standardized than most other branches of the Imperium. Like, everybody's got a Thunderbolt. And it looks like right now, I know they've previewed the bomber, the heavy bomber. They also have the Grot bomber, which is one of my favorite inventions of all time. In old AI, I don't know how it'll work in the new one, because obviously the rules aren't out yet. But in old AI, you gave a bomber Grot bombs, and then it would shoot out the bombs. And instead of rolling an attack like normal, you got a little tiny Grot airplane. It was like strap a Grot to a V2, and it would have a limited amount of fuel, so it would only stay in the air for like 3 turns, and it would just try and ram people, and it was amazing. So
that's pretty cool.
yeah, if you've been playing a lot of 30K and like miss that Xeno shenanigans, there it is.
That's
right
about
there.
as shenanigan as you can get.
Yeah. And with the Orcs getting 2 new planes, I can only imagine the Imperials are also in for at least a couple more before the end of their initial run. I would assume a Lightning, because that's just iconic.
Sure.
And I don't know. It depends.
Hey, Austin, I have one question. Since you have the cards, right? You bought the
Yes,
cards,
sir.
the aircraft and aces, Imperial Navy cards. Do you need those to play the game?
So, no. But also, maybe.
Yes.
Um,
Because like that's all your war gear, right? Like that's the way you upgrade your planes, right? So like these cards are not like they're not like data slates, right? Where they're just sort of like convenient references.
I mean, they kind of
This
are.
is
though.
actually
They kind of are.
okay. So the rules for these are actually somewhere else.
Yeah, so like there are rules for the Hellstrike missiles and Thunderbolts. Like all of those are in the rule book, like the basic rule book that I have. They're all in there.
Okay.
But it's still sort of handy. And it all depends, right? It depends on if you like tokens on your aircraft and out there or not. Because I could very easily see, like, I'm going to enjoy them just to be able to, like, pull off missiles from things as I shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So I know like,
Okay.
who's fired their missiles and who hasn't.
Sure.
But, if you're the kind of guy that doesn't like wound counters on their aircraft, okay, that's, tail number 7. This is card for number 7. Put a wound marker right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like putting the order token next to plane. I'm going to put it on the card.
Yeah. Okay. I
Stay
guess
with us,
that was my
Austin.
question, right? Like,
Inshallah.
do you need these in order to have the rules, right? Or like, are these rules somewhere else, and these are just
No,
kind of
the rules are somewhere else. However, if you are like how I've been playing 30K and 40K for the past, since 3rd edition, and you split a starter box with your buddy, and he's going to teach you all the rules because you just wanted the planes, and he put it in the extra $10 to get the rule book. If you buy the cards, you're golden. Oh God, sorry, didn't get away from the mic fast enough on that
Yeah,
one.
no, that's a great point. And I'll say this,
But you have
about the box
all the
set.
basic rules. Like if you know the basic rules of the game, which again are not hard. Like if you've got that cheat sheet, the book has a couple like standalone, like the BFG cheat sheets. Got 2 of those in there. So if you have one of those and you have your deck of cards, you can play the game.
Gotcha. What were you saying about
Yeah.
the box set, Dave?
Yeah, so and the box set really is great value for money. So if you guys want to get into this, buy the box set. Buy as many of the box sets as you think you can get or want, because just do simple online math, right? Go to Games Workshop store, look at what it costs to get 2 Thunderbolts and 2 Marauder bombers, you're almost there, right?
Yeah, like
I mean, you're
that's
really
$60 right there.
How much is the box set?
90.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, the box set is real reasonable. And a pair of
it's 90.
Yeah.
But it's still,
and a pair of Marauders is $40.
Yeah.
A pair of the Orc bombers is $40.
I think like all the plane boxes are $40.
Yeah. The only difference is the Thunderbolt box comes with 4. The Dakajet box I think comes with 6.
Oh, okay.
But again, there's easily $90 of plane just in there. So you're getting the rules for free, all the tokens for free, all that sort of stuff for free. So it's a really good buy. And conversely, if you don't want that, I don't know where the game will settle into, but 100 points is sort of what they recommend, and that's 4 Thunderbolts.
Well, there you go.
4 Thunderbolts is, depending on the way you build them, 21 or 23 points of plane. Missiles are 2 points apiece. You can't exceed 100 points. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
there.
It's a real cheap game to get into, weirdly enough.
Does sound like a lot of fun. Maybe I'll convince Carol.
You'll come over. We'll have a dogfight or two. She'll get on board.
Yeah, she'll take the orcs.
Yeah,
she likes orcs.
Exactly, they're fun.
Well, guys, this is a. You guys got anything else you want to talk about? No, Jason, look like you're about ready for bed. Dave, you got anything you want to talk real quick?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for hanging out, and for us that we're waiting for us to come back. We're back, and we're gonna have some really cool stuff in the near future.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Exciting. Yep. Got anything, Austin?
Yeah, actually. So not the first weekend of November, because I think November 1st is like a Saturday. But that following Saturday, which theoretically is the 8th of November, Battlegrounds, Titan Walk. Doing an AT event. It'll be exciting.
Walking with the Titans.
Yeah, I got no further information right now. I haven't decided on a points level. I haven't decided what's going on. But it'll be a good time. There'll be shiny medals handed out. And
eyes to the air, ears to the ground.
Yeah. Prepare yourselves. The 9th is the Saturday, my sources are telling me. So, yeah, I believe it is that date. Look for my post.
Very cool. And, folks, thanks again for listening to us. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I feel like I'm forgetting something there. Follow us anywhere at RR30K Podcast, and you'll find us.
Just Google it. Put it in Google. Follow everything that comes up.
Huge thanks to our Patreons for help making this possible. Without you guys, it'd be a whole lot more difficult.
We've got these nice microphones.
Yeah. Everything sounds a whole lot nicer. Shout out to Alex Selth, Chris Mack, Gardener of the Tree of Woe, and Joe from Music City Heresy, for top tier patrons this month. Welcome to our new patron, Duncan. That's all his name says is Duncan. Could be Duncan from Maryland. I don't know. But thanks for joining us. And if you guys want, we also have now a Ko-fi account. So if you just want to shoot a few bucks our way without having to worry about a monthly subscription, go right ahead. I won't stop you. We appreciate it.
Right, is go to our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, and then just follow us because all the events are there. Like we have like a little event tab, right?
Yep. And even events that aren't ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much anything that comes up in like the East Coast of Heresy.
Yeah, hang on. There was something. I have voicemail.
Oh, God.
Heresy Grad School voicemail. I gotta find Google Voice. Okay, this is from Alex. I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna let you guys figure this one out. He's got a question for you guys and a conspiracy theory. Pretty far out there, but pretty interesting. So I'm gonna play it.
Hey there, guys. It's Alex from Down Under.
That's Australia.
Loving your show, obviously. Ryan, Patreon. Everyone listening, join the Patreon. All the cool people are there.
Thank you, Alex.
I was reading Book 8, and there's a little section in the Selected Encounters of Esoteric Phenomena. In 881M30, the Majin Talk transgression. During the devastation of the second Rangan Xenocide, a base mechanic bark breaks the cordon of the galactic northeast to make its impact at Majin. The Death Guard Legion in pursuit are decimated as the macro beast within it is activated by unknown means. Only the quick-thinking intervention of the 6th Legion prevents disaster. So, leaving aside the how unrealistic the idea of quick-thinking 6th Legion is, this is another
rude as fuck.
And I've got this sort of long-standing conspiracy theory that the 30K universe and the 40K universe aren't in the same universe. And the Raindown Xenocide is the sort of core of this conspiracy theory, where during the Xenocide, you've got, in that little section, the Death Guard Legion is decimated by this one bark, or at least the force pursuing it is. In the third Raindown Xenocide, we've got 50,000 First Legion legionnaires alone killed during the third Rangan Xenocide, leaving aside all other legions, first Xenocide, second Xenocide. That's a lot of dead Astartes. But then you jump over to High Fleet Behemoth, which is the first Tyranid invasion. And this is billed as this grand galactic, galaxy-threatening invasion. And the Ultramarines lose less than 200 people. Now, what do you really think is up with that? Is this just sort of dodgy hand-wavy writing? Are the Tyranids not that scary, but everyone in the 41st millennium is kind of weak? Or are we going to go with a theory that there's been some, moment where the two universes diverge apart? You've got a 30K universe in its all its grim industrialness, and the 40K universe in its bright and shiny, and, no one ever dies. What are your thoughts on that kind of conspiracy? Have a good day. Keep your dice rolling too. Cheers.
Thank you, Alex. Got thoughts, Jason?
All right. One thing I've heard a couple of times that I really like, and I think it's a very firm, kind of division and theme setting ideas between the 31st and the 41st millennium, is one of scale. Mm-hmm. So way back in 3rd edition, and I have no idea how the fluff has been updated since then. The last time I checked in on 40K, I think, was halfway between 6th and 7th edition. I've got no idea what's going on now. But the Battle for Armageddon was one of, the biggest campaigns, supposedly, one of the biggest ongoing conflicts in the entirety of the setting. And it had almost a full 20 chapters of Space Marines involved, which was, of the time, 3rd, 4th edition or so, pretty much unheard of to dedicate that many, Space Marines to one engagement. But at an absolute maximum, that would be 20,000 Space Marines if every single Astartes from, each of those 20 chapters was there. Conversely, that's less than died in the opening engagement of the Calth conflict, where the Wordbearers launched the Campanile into the orbital defenses and the planet. So more Astartes died in that initial deal, just the opening shot of the whole betrayal at Calth.
The first 30 seconds of Calth.
Yeah, then we're actually involved. And I think it really goes to, during the Great Crusade, this was the height of humanity, right? The Emperor had never been closer to achieving his grand vision before he, ended up, getting in his own way time and time again. But that's neither here nor there. And by the time we've hit 40K, this is the Mad Max of space, right? It's everybody's fighting for those last holdouts of resources. 1,000 Space Marines, which would be an engagement that's a footnote in 30K, is now the sway of an entire system in 40K.
Yeah, and just to compare the the Rangdan Xenocides to the Tyranid invasions. That's not something I'd thought about before. And it is interesting because the Rangdan Xenocides do not fuck around. And if you're going to poo-poo the 6th Legion, like, they're the reason those didn't work, all right? Or perhaps did. I don't know what it means by xenocide.
Killing aliens.
Well, the first thought was, well, it was when we xenocided the Rangdans, but it happened 3 times, so either 2 of those were whoopsie daisies, or it's what the Rangdan called it when they tried to xenocide us. Which is one of my little conspiracy theories.
See, I always thought it was something, and I hope I don't sound super stupid when I say this. I always thought it was like Rangdan was a place, and it was the campaign of xenocidal extermination of whatever Rangdan is.
No, it's a species.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Which is a really interesting concept. And I've looked into this a lot. Just because I'm fascinated with the dark corners and trying to figure out what happened to the 2nd and 11th. And my legion, the Wolves, best legion, Alex, don't you forget it, feature, I can't say prominently because there's nothing prominent about the Rangdan Xenocides. Everything is very hush-hush. But it's interesting that you compare them to the Tyranids because that is, in 40K, a real big problem.
Sure.
You talk about, the Ultramarines only lost a couple hundred, but there was at least 2 chapters completely wiped out. A third reduced to less than 100 Marines. But that's still not a lot. Like when you, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, maybe 5,000 Astartes when all up.
Fractions of entire legions were
straight
up wiped
5,000 Astartes is, I mean, shit.
50,000, I thought.
Well, no, I'm.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Ultramarines wiped out 4,000 Thousand Sons, and nobody remembers. Like, it's a footnote in one book. You'll never hear about it again. And I think it is a matter of scale. It's also a matter of the military, I guess, style of the 31st and 41st millenniums. Because in the 31st millennium, Astartes fight wars. Like, Astartes are frontline. They're the ones you put in front of anything that's big and nasty. Yeah. And you kind of seal the gaps with Solar Auxilia or Militia or whatever. Mm-hmm. In 40K, it is exactly the other way around. The Guard is the front line, and in a lot of cases, the only line. And it's only when, shit's gone beyond desperate that you have to bring in the Space Marines, because there's a million of them.
If they even show up.
Yeah, for a whole galaxy. One of my favorite scenes is in one of the Gaunt's Ghosts, a junior commissar, Ludd, is around, and they're doing, a fancy mission, and they get 3 Space Marines for the mission. And Ludd's kind of like, to the senior commissar, like, when do the other ones show up? And like, the other what? The rest of the Space Marines. Like, when do they show up? And the other commissar, big experience dude, just looks at him like, bro, we got 3. Do you understand what a immense clusterfuck this is going to be? That they thought they needed to give us 3 Space Marines? Like, you out of your mind?
Good stuff.
So yeah, I don't think you can really judge the problem 30K to 40K based on the number of Marines that go down in a fight. Just because, hey, if I throw 30,000 Marines at a problem, of course more of them are going to die than if I throw 10. But on the other hand, I would say that the Rangdan Xenocides, just from looking at everything kind of around the corners that has been released, definitely were a bigger problem than the Tyranid invasions. Because like Jason said, this is the height of mankind's power. They're uniting the galaxy. The legions are on the march. Horus is the best guy in the world. And these almost broke all of that. They probably got at least 1 legion, maybe 2, and pushed at least another 3 almost to the break. Because the first, the Wolves and the Death Guard all kind of got rocked a little bit at various times. And that was full legion deployment. So you figure they put 5 legions full legions of Marines into a fight, and it's still only...
It's hard to wrap my mind around what...
Yeah, and you
what
still
would
had to
even
do
go
it
up
3
against
times,
that. Yeah.
right? Like, they still came back for 2 other goes after the first one, so it's just craziness. Yeah, so I don't know. Dave, you got any thoughts on this?
Dave had to drop out.
Oh, Dave had to drop out. Dave has no thoughts on this. Dave's thoughts exactly mirror mine.
6 Legion opinion and everything.
Yes, naturally.
Folks, if you want to ask a question, go to our voicemail at 1-929-HERESY-1. That's 1-929-HERESY-1. Leave a voicemail, and we'll play it. Probably.
Also, I'll answer them smarter next time.
No, that already sounded smart.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll have some prep next time around. I'm going to have to listen to this again and see if we missed anything.
make some more thought into it.
Is
Well,
Rangdan a place? I don't remember.
We're here to help.
I'm pretty sure the Eldar are also a planet.
Oh, they're certainly not important.
Again, listeners, thanks again for listening. Have a good night. Keep those dice rolling. My name is Jesse. Here with Jason and Austin. I'm going in circles. Have a good night. Keep those dice rolling. My name is Jesse.
We're trapped in this
Oh, no!
endless, like, no, you hang up first. You hang up first.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.